Folks, welcome back. Are we really halfway through March of 2023? I feel like we're still in the bear market in the cruel summer of 2022. Time is flying. So everybody's been waiting for me to discuss this, the One Ring, the Lord of the Rings situation with serialized cards. Okay? So first I want to give a little, I've been kind of taking all the information in the last probably about 5 to 7 days. Kind of just seeing where all this goes, looking at everybody's reactions and dramatic YouTube thumbnails and social medias and all the Silk Road Backpage, MySpace, and, you know, kind of seeing what everyone's doing. My overall conclusion right now is, for those of you who just want a thumbs down and run away, we're only a couple weeks away from the new MetaZoo set. Super pumped about that. But for those of you who just kind of want to run off into the little corner in the fetal position, I think it's going to be really successful. Yes, it's very expensive, but if you were Wizards of the Coast, and they're publicly traded, and Papa Hasbro is clearly very angry with the stock price in the company's direction, they are raising the prices and people are buying it. I mean, they learned that doing Magic 30 for $1,100 for a little box didn't work, but they're learning that doing master sets once a year does work. They're learning that premium products like Modern Horizons, these remastered sets, and soon to be this Lord of the Ring. I mean, it works. It works. So, again, I can't really fault much on that, although the high price points do make it more scary because obviously you have more room to fall down. So first, let's go into a couple things. I already told you guys I feel that it's going to be very successful. It could be the hottest set of the year. I don't know, because Commander Masters is probably going to be just pure fire, and it's going to be crazy. Because usually once a year, when they make these master sets, ever since the collapse of the infamous iconic Masters in Masters 25 from like 5 years ago, you guys, for those of you around a long time ago, you guys remember the videos on that, what we went through. I don't think we revisit a failing Master Series set. I just don't see it happen. I don't think it's ever going to happen, period. So, first I want to discuss this thing. 6 months ago, Dominaria United came out. Okay? They did Lost Legends card. They did hidden high-end cards. They slipped them in, made it a secret chase thing. So everybody was like, oh, you can get a $5,000 Tabernacle of Pendle Rudy. And as we learned, that kind of gimmick sold the product, but the secondary market in the following 3 to 6 months lost interest quickly, and the market started to dissolve downwards. Okay? That's just the fact of what has happened in the last 6 months. Personally, I'm surprised. I thought it was going to hold up a lot better. I got that wrong. I thought for sure it'd do a lot better. So we've learned that the market overall is not a fan of very, very, very extreme chase things. Like chasing one of, supposedly, based on the quantity of calculations, there's supposed to be around 30 tabernacles that were in the estimated 200,000 boxes of Dominaria United collectors. So apparently 30 of those packs should have had a $4,000 to $6,000 pack fresh tabby. I've never seen it. I don't know anyone who pulled one. I never seen one pulled on camera. It is what it is. So either they're still sitting sealed in Rudy's basement, they already opened by just some random kid at Walmart and said, oh cool, whatever, it looks old, ugly. We don't know. We'll never know. Now we go to Brothers War. Brothers War was the first mainstream standard Magic the Gathering set in 2022 in the history of Magic's 30 years that introduced serialized cards. Obviously, as with most testing the waters and just seeing how you respond, they did the infamous Viserai Seer, 1 of 100, Secret Lair backwards serialized card is the first ever Magic serialized card, and the Wizards always test like that. But the first standard set to ever have serialized cards was Brothers War. And now, we can fast forward saying, once again, fancy lands, fancy artifacts, and serialized cards do work. This is not an opinion anymore. We have the last couple months of data to show even post-release of Brothers War into the next standard set of Phyrexia, all be 69 with your X. We've learned that the market maintains interest, and those collector boxes do hold up. And serialized cards, they hold their value, and they are unique. They are special snowflakes, and they are a pseudo version of a modern day reserve list expansion or unique collectible. that is the market's overall, perspective. So we've learned that very rare chase cards tend to lose their luster. We've learned that serializing cards with good artifacts and a good land cycle apparently does work. So now when we look at this Lord of the Rings specialty thing, in my opinion, it is going to be an absolute home run for Papa Hasbro Wizards of the Coast. It's going to be very expensive. I'm going to close my eyes, pull the red rope in the middle of the room, and pay distribution. God knows how much. Usually Alpha Investments as a whole, whenever we have an annual master set or specialty product, I usually will go up to about, the maximum would be $2 to $3 million worth of the inventory and commit for payments between distribution and multiple distributors. So each distributor maybe like $400,000 to $800,000 range kind of thing. So it is scary to tie up that much money, because if it fails and something Black Swan event like a Baldur's Gate 2.0 type of thing happens, I can get annihilated financially, and it can undo any income for me for an entire year. So do I think that's going to happen? Well, nothing's impossible, but I think a Baldur's Gate 2.0 situation is highly improbable. I don't see it happening. I personally believe the IP is so massive with Lord of the Rings. I think the following for Lord of the Rings is so intense, I think it's going to be very successful. I think people who aren't even into Magic, this is one of those rare examples, it's going to lure in new people into Magic. I genuinely believe that this Lord of the Rings crossover, the amount of people into this genre of products, of Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, the history, the lore, the books, the stories, the collectible side of that, it is a big deal. I'm not downplaying that Transformers aren't, or Godzilla isn't, and but Lord of the Rings is a really big deal. Okay? I mean, I'm not a massive Lord of the Rings fan, but mostly because I don't have the time to really watch the massive 3-4 hour movies and the trilogy and the series, get into the details, and actually really appreciate the details in the storyline. I have a feeling there's a lot there, and it's probably beautifully written and very in-depth. But, I work so much with, between having a family and just working, I don't have the time to fully respect and understand the depth of that industry. But I do have the basic knowledge of Rudy the Timmy to respect that it is a major successful IP. And we cannot downplay that. I cannot act like it's not a thing. And because of that, and now you layer in serialized ring cards. Not only just the one ring, but the multiple versions of Soul Ring and the multiple versions of rings that have different quantity of serialization. Yes, the one-of-one ring card with these crazy prices and things, is yet to be determined. If it gets pulled immediately, gets pulled later, we'll have another video on that here another day or so. But the point is, we know for a fact a very rare one-of-one type chase card isn't going to do a whole lot to the long-term value of the sealed product. We've learned that from Dominar United. We do know that actual artifacts and serialized cards in general do help the sealed product. And as of right now, there's only been one major standard set, Brothers of War, collector boxes, that's had a collector or serialized product and that data shows it's done real well. So, based on all of this information, in my opinion, once again, I am biased. I am a heavy bag holder of Hasbro shares, proudly down 30-40%, and I have, between 5,000 and 10,000 shares as of right now, and I can tell you all, in my opinion, it's going to be a very successful, very well-marketed release. Now, whether this helps Hasbro stock and does all that, who the hell knows? We'll let you guys figure that crap out. But what I do believe is Lord of the Rings is going to be a pretty big net win for Magic. I don't know how much past the initial gimmick of the one-of-one, the ring, I don't know how much of a long-term impact that's going to have on the singles or sealed product. I don't know anyone who's going to be like, I'm going to take a line of credit and max my credit cards just to crack packs to look for the one-of-one. Like, I don't think anyone's really going to do that. But I do think that overall, the product's going to have a lot of interesting, unique and the flavor of the set's going to be desirable enough to be very successful. That's my opinion. Now, my only concern of the whole thing is this whole Commander Masters in Lord of the Ring. We have two specialty premium product sets that are kind of back-to-back. I know they're not releasing like 2 weeks of each other, something stupid, but they're still within, 90 days of each other. So my only concern is that, we have this master set. We don't have a couple standard sets in between and then Lord of the Rings. It's kind of like this summer of high-end premium product. So that's my only concern, is that I feel like almost one should be like the summer and one should be like Christmas or something. I feel like the Lord of the Rings thing should be like a Christmas holiday set. Like a Q4 holiday adventure. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, But that's my opinion of it. So in simple terms, folks, I think everyone obsessed with this one particular card of the set, I think Wizards achieved their objective. Their objective was to throw out one early sign on this product to get the market in the world, in the news outlets, the highly accurate, never fake news media, to always tell you all and talk about this dramatic new record price, this hype, and that was the objective. And I think that is really the only real purpose that Wizards sees by doing this one particular card. Now, people, well, Rudy, what do you... Personally, I'm not, even if the card sold for 10,000, 100,000, a million, 100 million, 10 billion trillion Zimbabwe dollars, personally, I'm not, even if it was offered to me, it's just not for me. I would rather take 100,000, a million, or 10 million. I'd rather put it into other things, especially when cash is like 5% and, we have real estate opportunities with real estate dropping. And of course, reserve list card prices that are down 20, 30% from their highs. I'd rather buy all the Arabian Night cards kind of thing. So for me, it's not for me, but I understand the direction. I respect what's going on. And I do think it's going to work as a marketing hype aspect. But I don't think this one-of-one ring situation is really the key component of the Lord of the Rings set. I really don't. I think this is just the early hype thing they're using just to put the splash in the market. But I really think the real news is going to be the normal serialized cards between 200 out of 300 out of 500 out of 7. They have different quantity of serialized cards depending on the ring and the rarity. So I think that's more interesting. But as we've learned, okay, you cannot just have serialized rings to sell a premium product. And I believe the serialized cards are only in collector boxes, right? So it's still going to need to have unique cards of value in the rare slot, a land cycle, other desirable mythics, maybe with Lord of the Rings spins and lore, but we're still going to need other things. And if Wizards doesn't deliver on these other things as we approach the release, that's when we're going to have a real problem. We need a foundation of products so that when the average YouTuber cracks a box for their Timmy patron or something, we have to be able to open a box. And there can't be like, well, you didn't get a serialized card, so this $300 box, you got $21. You're down 99%. We can't have that. It needs to have enough diverse value between the different slots. We need some uncommons that are worth a couple bucks. We need some good rare cycles of either artifacts or a land cycle. We need some good unique mythics, okay? I'm not saying reprint Force of Will for the 10th time or reprint Tarmogoyf for the 69th time, but you need to have other aspects so that when people do box openings, it's not, if we have a situation where it's serial card or bust, we're going to have a problem. The market will fall apart. And in my opinion, that's similar to what happened with Dominaria United. Because it was like Lost Legend or, well, Liliana and a couple other small cards, but there wasn't this is the market's opinion. There wasn't enough regular value in the product to make to hold up the secondary market, and it fell apart. So that's kind of what happened with that. So that's my opinion on it. I'm going to kind of let a few more days go by. We'll do a follow-up video on kind of these prices being thrown around for the ring or who's paying what and perspective. And we'll go into that in another video. But I just want to give you all a general idea of, I've just been kind of watching everybody, all the hype around this ring, the serialized thing. But my conclusion of the video is it's going to be successful. I think the hype around this one particular one-of-one is just pretty much a marketing blitz. And I don't think it really represents what the set is going to be and how the market's going to react and accept or reject the set. That's my opinion. Hope you learned something. Other than that, have a beautiful day out there. Giggity, 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 giggity.